Filmmakers, I implore you to really study the various global markets that exist. And what I mean by this is that Hollywood is not the only game in town. A lot of times when we think about the film industry, by default, we think about Hollywood. But Hollywood is a small portion of what really makes up the very large industry that exists globally, right? And, the various countries love different types of movies, fund different types of movies, and those all could be opportunities for you to be able to make your movie, for your movie to be ultimately purchased and recoup its money and stuff of that nature. And I say all this because it's really fascinating to look at this film called Nezha 2 as a case study of how, in some ways, you through one lens you could look at it that the power of Hollywood is really diminishing. But I choose to see the positive that there's now going to be more opportunities in various ways. And so Nezha 2 is this movie from China. It's a 3D animated movie. And basically it made almost $1 billion in a single day in the Chinese market. That is absolutely insane. And the incredible part is most people that I know in the US, and they're people that are in the industry, they're cinephiles, it is their job to review movies, had never heard of this movie before. And all of a sudden it's breaking this record. And, at the time of this recording, it already surpassed Inside Out 2 in terms of animated. And so it's got around 1.8 billion. I see this getting to $2 billion. This thing is not stopping anytime soon. It is rolling fast and it's happening quick AF. And yeah, so there are different markets out there, right? There can be success and things like that. And so, ultimately for you as a filmmaker, you have to kind of know, because that's, as I said, where you can get your movies made. So I bring up Nezha not only because of its success and kind of, this counter to Hollywood, but also it speaks to the idea of what China likes, right? Because most of that movie thus far has come from the Chinese market, and they love very high quality 3D animation, right? They don't like 2D animation. Japan, ironically, the opposite of that, right? And so those are just two small examples, and I say them because right now I'm working on an anime style project, and so learning, where that fits into overall. America is a decent market for sure, but obviously Japan, Israel actually is a big anime consumer, parts of South America and so forth. So you start to, really kind of pick up these various things. And, this applies for all other aspects as well. I remember with my second movie, it was a very deliberate movie. We shot it in Colombia, but we didn't want it to be about the drug cartels. And, again, knowing those markets, I knew it would be a little bit of an uphill battle because, people kept telling me, well, had you made it a drug cartel movie in Colombia, it would have already sold in all these various territories and yada yada. Now, that was a deliberate choice on my part to go counter to that because I didn't want to perpetuate that myth. I didn't want to do that. I had something quite different to say because there are very beautiful parts of Colombia, and it's not just the drug cartel that. Let's say amounts to 5 to 10% of what the country perhaps is, versus what it really is. So, it's not to say that you can't go against the trends of, what's out there, but at least know why you're doing it, right? As that sort of famous saying goes, I think it's attributed to Picasso, you have to know the rules in order to break the rules. So this is kind of that aspect of it. And, you might be asking yourself, well, how do I follow these trends and stuff like that? Well, looking up at the box office beyond just the American market, right? And seeing the trends globally and seeing what, foreign movies are doing well and what about them and where are they playing, and stuff like that, right? So that is an aspect of it, obviously reading the trades and whatnot, but becoming immersed in on all of this beyond just a surface level and beyond just America, right? America, obviously a very big contingent of the film industry, right? And we need America in order to have a successful film industry. But at the same time, like movies out there in the foreign markets, they're all viable, right? There are audiences there. And not only that, there's money there, right? So, for example, A Real Pain, the Jesse Eisenberg movie, filmed in Poland, and they got tax rebate as well as I think some grant money and stuff like that for filming in Poland. So there's opportunities out there. Now, I'm not, again, saying do it in a disingenuous way. A Real Pain makes sense to have filmed in Poland because they visit Polish Holocaust monuments, and that's part of the fabric of the story. Now, does it have to mean outright like you have to do that necessarily? No, but as long as like Poland fits for the story that you're trying to tell, that is an option, right? And this is just a small case study, right? I'm dealing with the same thing in terms of figuring out co-productions and stuff like that with the Philippines, where my animation team is, and I have a team in Colombia as well. And so how can we all like unite these 3 different countries in terms of a co-production so we can take advantage of the various incentives through each of our countries, right? So this is the stuff that they don't, I shouldn't even say often teach in film school. Like for the most part, as far as I know, they don't really teach in film school, like the true business side of it, of like how to get your movie financed. We look at Hollywood as the pinnacle of the industry, but we don't look beyond that. And so I want to really start to shatter that and show that there is life outside of Hollywood. And, we have to take notice because it's evident that it's coming, right? Nezha 2 isn't a prime example of this. Like this thing is sweeping the globe, and, many film viewers and film critics and film participants, like whatever you want to call them in America, are like, what the hell is this? And now they're paying attention because of the box office success, right? That's incredible. And just as a final point, if you want a truly, truly inspiring story, there's this movie called The Glass Worker. It's a 2D animated film from Pakistan, Hayao Miyazaki inspired, and that's a wonderful movie, and I recommend you check it out. But even if you don't ever see that movie, on YouTube, they put out a documentary about the making of. So it's about 90 minutes about how they brought this movie to life. And what's incredible about that is that in order to bring the movie to life, they had to start Pakistan's first animation studio. So this movie took 10 years to make, and it's the fact that like they made this, they documented it, and it's really well done in terms of documentary, truly phenomenal. And that is why I recommend it, because it's both inspiring, it's both has just great takeaways, things like that. So like it's one of those like, holy crap, if they can do it, there's a path forward some way for all of us, And what I appreciate, they didn't like just do it in a heinous way. Like they really stuck true to like a core spirit of what they were really building, and it's just amazing and incredible. So highly recommend that one. But the overall theme of this episode is learn the markets. There's money out there for you to make your movie. You just have to get a little creative with it, and by knowing those various markets, it becomes a little easier.